This particular module is entitled Hints for Reading Certification Exam Questions, Looking for Unique Statements. When you are looking at the questions that you may get on a certification exam, I want to give you a little insight into writing questions. When we actually write the questions that you will then see on the exam, we're given some pretty strict instructions on how to write a question. One of the instructions we're given is that we're not allowed to put what we call distractors in the question itself. The question itself is only meant to contain essential information necessary for you to successfully navigate the exam. Distractors are actually put in the answers, right? Of course, one of the answers will be correct, but the other three will be distractors. They'll be incorrect. So distracting information is found in the answers, but distracting information is not found in the questions. The questions themselves can only contain essential information, and use that to your advantage. When you read a question, make sure that you read each statement, word, sentence, and phrase and figure out why it's there. Because if it's in the question, it's essential. It's not a distractor, it's meant to be there. So with that being said, I want to put a question on the screen now. EMS brings a patient in full cervical spinal precautions from a motor vehicle collision with apparent mid-face fractures. Which of the following interventions is least likely as an initial intervention? Okay? Now, as I look at that question, I'm looking at the question to see if there's any unique or odd statements that are in there that don't seem to belong. Now, what seems a little odd to me in that question is where it says in full cervical spinal precautions. You see, I could have written that question without that sentence, and let me go back and read it without it. It says EMS brings a patient from a motor vehicle collision with apparent mid-face fractures. That sentence worked without full cervical spinal precautions, didn't it? We didn't need that in there. You usually expect that anybody brought in from a motor vehicle collision is going to be in full cervical spinal precautions. So my question is, why did the author put that statement in there? It seems odd, it seems out of place. The sentence would have worked well without it. But guess what? When you see words, phrases, or sentences that don't belong, that seem to be a little odd or out of place or unnecessary, pay close attention to them, because that probably means it's part of the key to getting the question correct. And in fact, in this case, that is the truth. If you look at the four choices, and I'll read them quickly: application of ice to the face, early consideration of intubation, elevation of head of the bed to reduce edema, and the halo test for cerebral spinal fluid in the nasal and ear discharge. When you look at those four choices, there's only one that really applies to full cervical spinal precautions, right? And so that helps you get right down to the answer. So we're looking for the one that's least likely in this case. C is the correct answer, and I was able to get there by looking for that odd or unique statement that didn't seem to fit, and then using that statement to help rule out the incorrect answers. I hope this little hint will help you in being successful on your certification exams. Watch the rest of this series for all kinds of other similar hints.